Okay, in the last video, I shared with you how to factor using the star method, and this page is basically practice doing that. So we have this trinomial here in problem 15. It reads negative 3x squared plus 11x minus 6. And we want to, first of all, check for any common factors. And even if there is no common factor, and in fact, the only number that goes into 3 is 3, and it doesn't go into 11, you want to make sure that you have, if you've got a negative in front here, that you take out at least a negative 1, because you don't want that negative in the front of your trinomial. So distributing the negative 1 just changes the signs here. And you could actually distribute here to see if that was correct. For instance, this would give negative 3x squared, and the next one is positive 11x. And once you've done that, you just set up your answer. And you're going to try and break it down into the two factors that we don't know yet. One of them will go there and the other will go there. Okay, set up a star on the side. And your leading term goes on the wings. Multiply the front and the back. In this case, 18x squared. And that goes up here on the top. And you can see that right below it on the original problem, you have a negative 11x. So you put that down there also. The middle term goes there. So our goal here is to find two numbers or two expressions that multiply to give the top expression, and the same pair add to give the negative 11x. Well, the numbers that multiply to 18 are 1 and 18, 2 and 9, and 3 times 6. So this is what we have to work with, and we're trying to get an 11 down there, or a negative 11, and this looks like it has potential. So we're going to put a 2 and a 9 there and put x's behind them. Now at this point, those two terms there, they don't add up to negative 11x. They add up to positive 11x. So we'll put a negative on each of them and see if that fixes it. Let's say negative 2x added to negative 9x does give this one. That's good. And when you multiply these two, it does give this one up here. So we're set. All we got to do is simplify this. You're going to divide these both by x. And turn that answer sideways. 3x minus 2. And then you do the same over here. In this case, divide top and bottom by 3x. And that gives you 1x minus 3. Now we're going to check this and see if it works before we move on. This would give 3x squared. That's good. The back gives positive 6. That's good. To get the middle term here, the negative 11x, you have to combine the inside and the outside. So minus 2x and minus 9x gives negative 11x. So everything's good here, and we've got this one licked. All right, redo this example. I'm going to keep the other one in view here. We're going to do the same problem, but when we get to the star, we're going to temporarily leave all those x's out to streamline it. Okay, so first pull out the negative 1, and that'll make you have a positive at this point. And then set up your answer. And set up your star. But this time you're not putting any variables in. So you're just going to put a 3 on the wings. Multiply 3 times 6 and you get 18. And down below it, you see there's a negative 11 down there. So we need two numbers that multiply to give 18. And the same two numbers have to add to give 11. Well, we've done all this thinking already, but I'll just run through it again real quickly. Oops, 2 times 9 also gives 18, and so does 3 times 6. So these would add up to 9 if the signs were both positive. They would add up to negative 9 if the signs were both negative. And if you switch the signs, make one positive and one negative, you'll either get 3 or negative 3. But what you don't get is what we're after. You don't get 11. These could add up to 19 or negative 19, and with opposite signs, 17 or negative 17. Still doesn't work. So we're down to the 2 and the 9. And indeed, if you put these both negative, you're going to get your negative 11 when you add it. And multiplying those two numbers, you get positive 18 when you multiply. So we're on to it. Now, simplify this fraction, 1 over negative 3. Notice that I put the negative on the bottom. You need to do that all the time. So this fraction here, when turned sideways, and you put the x back in, would give this. And this one, when you put the x back in and turn it sideways, would be 1x minus 3. And we got the same answer, but a lot more efficiently because we left the x's out of the star. So I'll be doing that from now on. Okay, the common factor on the next one is 2. So we're going to pull that out, and we get 3x squared minus 19x plus 20. And then we set up our answer, and we set up our star. Okay, on the wings, we have a 3. Multiply the 3 times the 20, and you get 60. We're multiplying to get 60, and we have to add to give the number that's in the middle there, the negative 19. Okay, so the factors of 60, there's a lot of them. It's 1 times 60, 2 times 30, 3 times 20, 4 times 15, 5 times 12, 6 times 10, 7 doesn't go into 60, 8 doesn't go into 60, and 9 doesn't go into 60, and we're back on, we got the 10 now. So it's climbing up the other side when you get to one of the numbers that's already listed. Now, we're trying to get negative 19, and I can see right away that the best way to do that would be use those numbers. 4 and 15, if you make them both negative, it's going to work just fine. They add up to negative 19, they multiply to give 60. Okay, the left-hand side's good to go, this one here. You're just going to fill in 3x minus 4 here. But the other side has to be simplified first, 1 over negative 5, and then you can put it in here, 1x minus 5. So you want to check these. This gives 3x squared, that's good. These two multiply to give 20, that's good. And you get a minus 4x and a minus 15x on the inside and the outside. So those add up to negative 19. Everything's good. Okay, we have a couple more here. Let me see how many more. Yeah, these are the last two on this page. So the common factor here is a 6. So we'll pull 6 out. And you get 6a squared. You can think of multiplying those, you can get your 36a squared. Now you have to put a minus 1a here to get the middle term to work. You're pretending you're distributing here is what you're doing. Okay? And then, let's see, 6 times negative 12 would be the negative 72. All right, you're going to set up your answer here and set up your star. Okay, you have 6 on the wings. You ignore the GCF when you do this. Don't lose it, but you do ignore it in terms of the calculations here. And the front and the back multiply to give negative 72. So we want two numbers that also multiply to give negative 72, but they have to add up to negative 1. Okay, so we're going to make the list, and I'm going to do it clear over on the left of this paper here. So 72 is 1 times 72, 2 times 36, 3 times 24, 4 times 18, 5 doesn't go into 72, 6 times 12, 7 doesn't go into 72, 8 doesn't go into 70, yes it does, 8 times 9, and we've met in the middle here, so if you move on from 8 to 9, you're just climbing the other side. Now, an easy way to get these numbers is to go to the y equals line. Excuse me, the y equals key on your calculator, and simply do 72 divided by x and go to your table of values. So that'll display them. Now, we're trying to get this negative 1 to happen here. And I can see right away that this pair right here, if you have a positive and a negative, would actually work. So let's see how we're going to make this work. The one that has to be negative has to be that one. Those add up to -1. Yay. And they multiply to give -72. Double yay. Okay. So simplify this to 3/4. And you've got 3a plus 4 here. Notice the variable changed. I always get mixed up when that happens. Divide these both by 3, and you get 2 over -3. So 2a minus 3 here. And you want to check these always. So let's see. Does this give 6a squared like it's supposed to? Yep. Does this give -12 like it's supposed to? We're in good shape. You get an 8a there minus a 9a there. Those combine to give a -1a. So everything's good. Okay, so here's another one. And once again, you got a negative in front. So we're going to pull the negative GCF out, the opposite. So instead of 5, which goes into all these, you want to pull its opposite out. Okay, once you've got that done, and by the way, you can just experiment with this. 120 divided by -5 will tell you what has to go there. Okay, now we're going to set up our answer and our star at the same time, like so. And you're going to set your star up. And this time we're going to have this 1 on the wings. When there's a 1 there, you won't have to do the simplifying step because 1 doesn't simplify. And we'll multiply those, you get -24. Okay, if we list all the factors of 24, it'd be 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. 5 doesn't go into it, and we've already got 6 in the list, so we've got it. And what we need them to add up to, let's fill this in over here, 24 and 5. We need it to add up to 5, and I can see this would be very promising. Let's see if we can get that 3 and that 8 to work. Let's see. Make that one negative, and now check. Do those add up to 5 and multiply to give -24? And yes, they do. So 1t minus 3 and 1t plus 8. And these fractions over here, they don't simplify, so they're ready to plug in. Now let's check it out, and we'll call it a day on this page because I think we're done with it. Does this give t squared? Boom. Does this give -24? Yes. The outside is 8t, the inside is -3t, and if you combine 8t minus 3t, you get 5t. So everything's good. We've factored this problem. Okay, so that's hopefully enough practice that you'll be able to figure out how to do the star method yourself.